Hello guys, today our topic is applicability of reverse charge mechanism for the services provided in relation to transportation of goods by road by goods transport agency. For this transaction, reverse charge mechanism will be applicable if the recipient is a specified person. Who is specified person? If the person is falling under any of these 7 categories, then he will be considered as specified person. What are those categories? First one is any factory, second one is any society, third one is any cooperative society, fourth one is any registered person, fifth one is any body corporate, sixth one is partnership firm or AOP, seventh one is any registered casual taxable person. If the recipient falls under any of these 7 categories, then reverse charge mechanism will be applicable. However, there are 2 exceptions for the applicability of reverse charge mechanism. Let's discuss what are those 2 exceptions. First one is if the recipient is a department or establishment of central government or state government or local authority or government agency which has taken registration only for the purpose of deducting TDS under section 51 of the CGST Act and not for making any taxable supplies, then reverse charge mechanism will not be applicable. That means if the recipient falls under any of these 3 categories and who has taken registration only for the purpose of deducting TDS under section 51, reverse charge mechanism will not be applicable. The second exception is the person who is providing GTA services has an option to pay taxes under forward charge. If he opts to pay taxes under forward charge and issues a tax invoice declaring the same, then reverse charge mechanism will not be applicable. In this case, how the recipient will be knowing whether to pay the taxes under reverse charge mechanism or not? As the GTA service provider is providing the invoice declaring that he is paying the tax under forward charge, the recipient what he has to do is he has to check the invoice whether such declaration is provided in the invoice or not. If the declaration is provided, that means the GTA service provider himself is paying taxes under forward charge. If such declaration is not provided, then the recipient has to pay the taxes under reverse charge mechanism. Fine. The next point is if the recipient is not the specified person, then the services which are provided by the GTA are exempt as per the exemption notification. Whatever the provisions I have explained till now, those provisions are provided in the form of a chart. You can check this chart. In this case, I want to add one more point. Sometimes what happens is the GTA service provider will be providing transportation of goods services as well as some other services, some other ancillary services like loading and unloading of goods. In this case, if the loading and unloading of goods is considered as composite supply and single invoice is given for both the supplies, that means transportation of goods as well as loading and unloading of goods, then it will be considered as a composite supply, and in this case the principal supply is transportation of goods and all the provisions as I said earlier will be applicable. However, if the supplier is giving these separate tax invoices for transportation of goods as well as for loading and unloading, then both the services will be considered as separate services and respective provisions of GST will be applicable.